And where does it come from? So the word is spelled in an unusual way, but it's pronounced Qigong. You don't have to try and pronounce that first Q, which is very odd for English speakers. And it's also spelled Chigong. So you might see it spelled that way. So why practice Qigong? Well, it's really great for your health. It's great for your mood. It's good for recovering from an illness, keeping your immune system strong. So it has many, many health benefits. And who can benefit? Anyone who can move who can do Qigong, and you can do it in a chair. You can benefit. It is a very good movement practice, especially for older bodies, because it's gentle and low impact. Okay, so this is just saying what we're covering here. All right. We are in presentation mode, and I don't know why this seems to happen. Okay, there we go. All right, so what is Qigong? It's an ancient healing art through movement, and it's from China. It's thousands of years old. There's many, many different kinds of Qigong, and each one is a little different and was developed for a different reason. Qigong is part of Chinese medicine, traditional Chinese medicine, and it was considered on par in ancient times with acupuncture, which we've heard of a lot more than Qigong, Chinese herbs, and even the body work. What's the word itself is a compound word. It's qi, which refers to our life energy, our vital energy, and gong, or the cultivation or work. So when you put it together, it's the work of building and cultivating your vital force, your vital energy. And as I said, anyone who can move can get benefits from Qigong. You can practice in a chair. And I encourage you to do that if you have like some bad arthritis in your legs, you had a knee injury, or a weakness in your legs. Those are some reasons. If you're just generally not feeling that strong or energized, you can try it in a chair. You can sit in a chair the whole time. And you can also try, this is what I did when I started. I actually was really in a chair when I first learned Qigong, because I've had a bad knee injury. I did it in a chair the whole time. And then as I started to get stronger, when I came back to the class, I could start standing for a little bit, and then I have to sit, and then I would stand for longer. And eventually I got to the place where I could stand the whole class. So you can play with that. Please, if you benefit from the chair, please don't feel like it's a lesser practice. Practicing at the right level of challenge for your body is actually better for you. So Qigong is very gentle. It will look at times like we're not even really doing anything, but we're actually doing a lot to build our energy internally. Most people say after a class they feel calmer and more relaxed, but it also does give you energy, which is nice. And again, it's a support for your health. If you're healthy already, it will make you feel better. If you have some chronic or acute health things going on, it will help you come back to your healthy feeling. And the basic principles of Qigong are the principles that are in Chinese medicine. And this has to do with when the qi is flowing freely through the body, and you could think of it as like water flowing freely through a river, or electricity flowing through the wiring in your house. When it's flowing and it's not blocked or stuck anywhere, then everything works better. When the qi gets stuck, it can result in illness or low energy. Sometimes, an injury, we just have an injury for various reasons, but then the qi can get stuck in that location. So we want to have it free flowing. Another principle is grounding and moving from your roots. And when I say roots, I'm referring to the place where the bottom of your feet meet the floor. And we often use the metaphor of tree roots going down from the soles of your feet into the earth. This is good for stability. It's good for physical stability and balance, as well as stability in your life, not being thrown around by everything that happens. Moving with awareness, so becoming aware of your body. How are you moving? Are you aligned? Is one shoulder higher than the other? Are you leaning forward? A very common thing is that we get our shoulders go up. So I'll remind you, but that's part of the practice of Qigong, is becoming aware of how is my body feeling and how am I moving? And finally, the principle of relaxation and the 80% rule, which is about we don't stretch out to 100% of our capacity. We certainly don't go beyond that. We maintain a little boundary of relaxation. So like as an example here, I always have to turn, if I'm stretching my arm out, here's 100%, like my elbow's locked. 80% is like that. See how there's a little bend there? And so that's the idea of that. Okay, and these are some of the forms that we'll be doing today. So we'll come up to standing in a minute, and I just want to invite you, as we're doing the practice, to take notice of what feels good. Is there something in this class that you really would like to remember and practice afterwards? The class is being recorded, and you can request the recording after class. You won't get it automatically, although you will get some notes from today's class. But if you want the recording, you have to request it at help@getsetup.io. And let's see here. Okay. So I think that's all I want to say here. I'm going to stop my screen share. There we go, stop share. Okay, very good. And I'll just type that in here. help@getsetup.io. That's an email that you'll send after class if you want to get the recording. Okay, let's come up to standing. Switch my camera. Okay, just one thing about the chair. So here's a chair that I might use. I won't be really demonstrating in the chair, but just for anyone that might want a chair, this is just a light folding chair. Whatever you use, you want to have a pretty good support in it, and you want to sit a little bit forward so you're not just like collapsed back on the chair. You also don't, if you're using a chair, you also don't want to use a really soft chair because you're just not going to get the right support. So for the rest of us, I actually will use the chair for support at one point here, just like for a warm-ups. Okay, here we go. So let's start with just a simple bow, and we imagine that we're entering into a room together, and we're just honoring this very special time together. And I invite you to have any background sound off, eliminating distractions. And that's another thing that you learn from the practice of Qigong is focus and concentration, which actually builds your brain and your brain power. So just offering a simple bow, entering the practice today. Good. And we'll do some gentle warm-ups here. So let's just start just like that. I'm just kind of flicking my hands a little bit gently. I'm going to start bringing that up as I lift my elbows, and you go at your own speed. If you need to go very slowly and gently, do that. And we'll come up to here, and let's just really, like we're flicking off water. And if you're able to reach your hands above your head, if you have that openness in your shoulders, go right ahead. Sometimes you might see me sit just so you can see the top of my hands for a second. All right, letting that go, let them relax. And let's do a little bit actually of that flicking for our feet. So we don't do a lot of balance challenge in this, but here's a little one for you. So press your left foot down into the floor, really feel firmly standing on it. And if you can, if you might need extra support for your balance, you just keep a chair handy like that. Everybody else just following me. So I've got my left foot rooted, right? I'm just gonna like dangle my foot and shake it out. I can hold on here. And we're gonna do 3 flicks. And this is releasing stuck energy. So 1, 2, 3, let's do it to the side. Okay, so even for me, that was a little bit of a balance challenge. All right, let's do the other foot. So rooting down firmly into the right foot, the front, the left, 3. Let's let it dangle first. Okay, and then 3 to the front, 3 to the side. And, you know, if I'm up here, you don't have to be up that high with your leg. You could be down here. It's totally fine. And let's do some shaking. Shaking is another way we wake up internal energy, chi. So just a little bouncing and jiggling, and notice I'm bouncing. My feet stay flat. I'm just bouncing in my legs. Just let it jiggle and wiggle. Good. Well, let's do a little bit more to open up our upper body, shoulders, and neck here. So here's a nice stretch. So this is my right arm. I'm bringing it up to here. And I have not mastered the art of mirror teaching. So if I'm showing you this is my right, your right would look like that side, but don't worry about it. The main thing is just that you get both sides. So you can copy the same side here, bring it up, take your opposite. I'm going to bend like that, and I'm going to just stretch here gently. And what I'm doing is I'm really stretching in here and the shoulder. That feels good. Let's do the other side. So I'm just gently, I'm not forcing like that. I'm just gently stretching, and this hand is resting on the shoulder here. Let that go. Let's do one more like that. And we don't think about stretching the inside of our bicep muscle, but we tend to build up tension and adhesions in all of our muscles as we age. So it's good to stretch out all these odd places. Good. And let's do a little bit more for our shoulder here. So what you're going to do is take your elbow up, back, and around like that. And if your shoulders are really tight, you're just going to do like a little movement. So really, I'm going to say that over and over because people tend to copy exactly what I'm doing. And what I want you to do is to do, copy what I'm doing, but adjust it to your own body. Okay, that should feel just like a nice opening. Let's do the other side here. So I've got my fingertips here, and I'm really just rolling the elbow around in a circle. And then let's reverse that. So we can build up a lot of tightness here in our front pecs from sitting, from leaning forward on the computer, things like that. Okay, let's do one more for the upper part of our bodies here. Let's do some neck rolls. So I'm just going to go down like I'm tracing like the bottom of a smile with my chin. My head is facing pretty much forward. Let's go back and forth a few times. Be very gentle with your neck. Okay. And we're going to do some side-to-side rotations, but let's just do a baseline. So let's see how it is before and then after. So just turn your head with your chin even to the right and notice how far you can see. Come back to the center and then go to the other side. Okay, so right now that's showing you what your range of motion is. Now let's do something. This is very interesting. I'm not totally sure how this works, but it does. Cross your arms, doesn't matter which one's on top. And we're going to do 10 movements to the side. So, and notice I'm just facing front. I'm only moving my arms. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. And then go the other way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 8, and 10. And then drop the arms. And now just compare. Turn to the right. And for me, I can go quite a bit further. And then to the other side. So if you tend to have a lot of stuff going on with your neck, this is something you might want to remember and try at home because it really increases your range of motion. And that's very helpful for a lot of things. It's especially helpful for driving because sometimes you have to turn back like that. So, okay, so we did neck, shoulders, and arms. Let's do a little bit of hip rotation. So get your feet not super wide, but just about like that. And let's go towards the right, circling back, left, and front again. Movement's coming from the hips, and anything you see in my shoulders or arms is just, they're just along for the ride. Okay, let's go the other way. And you might notice there's certain places that are more open where you can do more of a circle and other places where it's more tight. Okay, let's warm up our knees a little bit more. So rub your hands together until they get nice and toasty warm. And then bring them down. So just above your knee, on the knee and below, up and down. And let's just bend forward and back, forward and back. Again, pay attention, be gentle with your knees. If you need a smaller movement, you can do that. So for some people, you may want to sit down and just rub the knees like that. Okay, and then we're going to do a little massage around, circling around the kneecap and getting into the back of the knees. So like that, all around that whole area. Our knees are such an important weight-bearing joint. We really want to make sure that they're warmed up. Good. And I think I have a sneeze coming on. Maybe, maybe not. Okay, lots of spring pollen here. Okay, so now let me back up a little. So I think you can, let's see. Should be good. Okay, so now I'm going to warm up a little. This is a little bit more for knee and hip, but also for the ankle and the foot. Lift your right foot and press into the ball of the foot. And now doing a circle, just rotating out. It's not a huge circle here. Really pressing into the ball of your foot so you have some support in the other foot and the other way. Okay, and now rooting down into this foot, the standing foot lifts the heel of the other foot, and again, circles. And getting both ways. Okay, take our time here. So tune into your own body for a minute. Just notice how you're feeling and see if there's any other place that you are aware of. Sometimes we're not aware of it, but is there any tension in your spine? Is your face feeling kind of tight? And take a minute to move or stretch that part. So do your own self-guided stretch. And something else that often happens in this class is we're standing on our body weight, and we may not be that familiar with doing that. If you start to feel any tension or gripping in your toes, just shake them off. And then just tune in. Again, it's different for everybody. Do you need to kind of let your spine go a little bit? Do a little more for your shoulders. Let's tune in. Okay, and you'll see me drink water fairly often, which isn't necessarily part of Qigong. It's just I tend to run pretty hot and need water. And if you do, please take care of yourself that way. Okay. Let's go into some stances now. So in Qigong, we have a couple of different things that are going on. So we have movements, which we tend to repeat 5 to 9 times. So we have movement patterns, and that's what I will usually refer to as a Qigong form. There are stances where we stand in a certain way. So here's a very, very basic stance in Qigong where I take my left hand just below my navel, right hand on top, and I relax my shoulders. This is called Dantian settling. So here's a basic Qigong stance. And we sometimes come back to this as like a resting position, and you can feel it's very calming and grounding. And I'm going to show you a couple of other stances. So we have movements, we have stances where we're in one place. We also have sound healing where we use sound to move the chi and the healing energy through the body. And sometimes we also work with the breath. Okay, so let's see here. All right, so let's do some stances. So get your feet. So hip width would be like this, right? My legs, the outside of my legs is kind of in line with my hips, like that. We're going to go a little wider than hip width here. And you want to be aware that when you're bending your knees down, the knees are coming over the feet. The knees are not coming in like that because that strains the inside of the knee. So you can adjust how deep you go, and you can adjust the position of your feet to turn them out more or turn them in more, and just becoming aware of like what happens when you're bending down. Okay, let's go into our first stance here. This is called All Worlds Horse Stance. Very calming, grounding. So bending your knees and the hands push out like that. The hands are not in the front. They're not to the side. They're in between. And your gaze, your chin is level. You're looking out. Your knees are bent. Feel your feet on the floor. Relax shoulders. So this is like a stance that says, here I am. I am ready to meet the world. It's not a warrior stance of like ready for battle. It's just, I'm here, I'm present. I have the ability to respond. And you can stay in this for a while. We're only going to do it a short time, but I just want you to get the feeling of this. Okay, let's move into our next stance. And this is my right hand on the outside here. I lower the shoulders, but there is some muscular effort here of where I'm pressing this inside, the back of this inside hand against the other. So there's a little tension there, not a lot, but just a little tension. And this is part of a martial arts stance that says, I am here and I am protecting myself. This is my boundary. Do not cross here. This stance also boosts our immune system, which if you think about what is our immune system says, this thing can't come in. I'm going to fight it. I'm going to resist it. This pathogen, whatever it is. So we're strengthening our immune system and our sense of personal boundaries with this one. See if you can feel your feet pressing into the floor. Spread your toes so you get really grounded. Yeah. Iron shirt is the name of this one. Okay, let that go. And the last stance I want to show you here is called Yin Power Stance. So for this, I wrap my fingers around my thumb. I kind of cock my wrist here, and my pinky side of my hand is against my body. And this is Yin Power. Yin Power is that sense of calm stability. It says, like if you think about a mother protecting her kids, that's a good yin image. I am here. I am strong. I am present, but I am calm. I'm not angry. I'm not agitated. I am just here. All right, relaxing, letting that go. So just a quick review of those. Again, you make a mental note if you liked one of those. All World's Horse stance like that. Iron shirt here. And then Yin Power stance like that. So now we're going to go into some more movement, but before we do, again, this practice of awareness, what some people call mindfulness, let's just take a minute to do that. So bring your feet together, close your eyes, and notice how you're feeling. Do you feel any calmer or just any different than when you first started class? And you might be surprised to notice some changes, even though it doesn't look like we did that much, right? And it may be subtle. It may not feel that different yet, but hopefully by the end of class, you'll see more of a before and after as well. Okay. So now, again, getting the feet a little wider, and we're going to go into some Qigong movements that are designed for releasing stress and what's called the fight or flight or sympathetic response. So you may have heard of that. Fight or flight is the response to fear or something that we perceive as a danger, where the part of our brain that relates to survival, it goes back to ancient times when we had wild tigers or, hungry creatures threatening our lives. That's where that came from. And what it's designed to do, fight or flight. Fight is you fight back. Flight is you run away. It's designed to keep us safe. But of course, in modern life, we're not living like that. We usually don't. We have threatening, scary things, but they're not usually wild tigers. And sometimes we respond to something that seems threatening with a very exaggerated response. So, all the things that have been happening in this past year, all of the uncertainty and what's going on with this virus and just so many things that are triggering that in us. So the way you might know that you're having this going on in your life is if you feel anxious all the time, like it's kind of always there. Sometimes there can be fight or flight. Like the fight part is sometimes, if you notice that like more people seem to be on edge and more reactive, sometimes I notice I'm more like that. So that's part of this fight or flight. So what we're going to do in this Qigong is to work to counteract that and get you back more into a place of calm and resourcefulness. Okay, so let's start with our first form and getting your hands here, bring them just to here. And you're going to go up and down, just up a little bit and down. This is just to get the feeling of this. This is called the 3 pillars form. Imagine your hands are kind of like, they're not rigid like that. They're kind of soft and they're just kind of going up and down along this pillar. And now the hands are going to come down. I bend in the legs a little and I move the hands out. And I don't go too far past like my elbows here, just maybe to here. I bring the hands back in and lift up on that pillar, coming down. And this is very calming, this form. It's letting your whole nervous system know, yes, there's a lot going on in the world. And right now, I'm just here. In this present moment, I am here with myself in this class, and all is well. And it's just a pretty small movement, and notice again, I'm bending my knees slightly. And as the hands come back in, the legs rise. And if you're brand new to this, you may find that even simple movements, I'm giving like a lot of directions. You just do your best to follow. And remembering it's more important to do it in a relaxed way than to try and be absolutely perfect with it. And on the other hand, following the directions, again, increases your concentration and focus. So you always have these polarities, relaxation and concentration. Okay, let's do one more. Up to here. And now let the hands come down a little lower. And we're going to do the second form in this series, and it's called waxing lung. So this is for our breath. So the movement is pretty simple. I'm going to take an inhale, bend my knees. I open the hands out to the side, again, not too big. On the exhale, I bring the hands together. And what I'm doing with my hands is I'm mimicking my lungs. So my lungs are inhaling and filling. And now my lungs are exhaling and the hands are coming together. Let's do a few more of these. Notice how the hands are soft and curved. They're not rigid. Feeling the bottom of your feet meeting the floor for grounding. And if there's too many details, then let go of the breathing instructions. But for anyone else, we inhale here. And we exhale. 2 more. case you noticed, we are moving pretty slowly, and it might be slower than you're used to moving. And that is part of the practice. So do your best to just stay at my pace. Okay, let's move into our next form, which is called sifting. So the hands come down like this, and watch what happens. My hands are going to come up as I sink down in the legs. Not a big sink, but just like coming down with my tailbone towards the earth. Now the hands turn, come back. Again, inhale as I sink. Yeah. Good, let's do a few or more of these. So this is called sifting, and you might be wondering how it got its name. So we're sifting the yin and yang in this form. And yin and yang theory and working in oppositions is part of the Taoist philosophy, which is what Qigong is based on. So as my hands go down towards the earth, that's a yin movement going downwards. But my legs were rising. Now my hands are going to lift, that's yang, going up as the legs sink towards the earth. So I'm moving in opposition. Hands moving in the yin, coming down as the legs straighten. Relaxing the shoulders. Notice I am sinking, but not that low. I'm not going down that much. 2 more. And 1 more time. Okay, and then just shoulder roll or 2 just to eliminate tension. And let's do our last form in this series. This is called walking the bear. So bring your thumbs and index finger like that, and now turn it. And then I'm going to turn my foot, this foot that I'm turning towards, I turn that foot out. I open the hands, and the hands are parallel now, and I'm going to trace 2 circles over that leg. And then I'm going to start turning, and I go to the other side. Same thing now. So you do have to bend your front knee a bit, and the back knee will come along. And it could be even smaller, so it could just be like that. So I'm going to go a little further. And then, like we're carrying a bucket of water or paint by the handle, we turn, we hold it, and we move to this side. Walking the bear, so it's slow. It has this very earthy feeling to it. Hands are just kind of parallel. And turning your feet as you need to. Let's do 1 more on either side. So there's a feeling in this, it's like planting, almost like you're planting something down into the earth. Okay, coming back to here. Let's check our time here. Okay, we're good. And let's finish this part, this series, with one more movement. So let me just show you this one. This is effortless rowing. And I'm going to bend my knees, and my hands are really like making contact, not hard, but just I can feel my hands on my body. When I come up to about here, I'm going to bend. I'm going to tilt my pelvis back a little bit. The hands are going to come forward like that, and then I'm going to turn to my left side and come back. So that was just a demonstration. Let's do this together. Bending. The pelvis tilts a little bit forward. I look to my left, and then everything comes back down to the middle. Repeating now, and this time I'm going to turn my head the other way. So deeply calming and nourishing, another kidney form here called effortless rowing. And you may be starting to feel warmer, or that's already been happening. This is a good sign. It's letting us know that the chi has gotten activated. And if you're not feeling that, it's not a problem either. One more to each side. And one of the subtle directions is I don't really turn my head until here. Again, there's a lot of details, and just do your best. Good. Let's come to Danchan settling. Get your feet a little closer. Hand in hand. Close your eyes. Feel your body. Have you built up any tension in your shoulders? Let it go. How about your neck? And then check those feet. Shake them. Lift them or shake them out. How's your back? If there's a little soreness or tension, you can just wiggle it around, bend over, shake it out. And let's just do one more just to really feel our full alignment. So your feet are pretty close together. Roll those shoulders back. Chin is level, facing out. Let's check our time here. Okay, I want to do one more thing as a closing movement here. So from here, I'm going to bend the knees as my hands start to come out to here. The thumbs turn and the whole palm lifts up. I come up above my head. Sit again just so you can see the visual. And notice my fingertips don't quite meet. And now I come down the body. And about 6 to 8 inches away from my body. Hands go out like that. Come back in. Let's do this again. This is called showering chi. I really like this as a closing move. Inhale as you sink down. Exhale, turn the thumb and the hands. Another inhale above the head. And as you exhale, showering chi, so we're cleansing through the energy field that surrounds the body. A gentle shower of white light. Let's do one more. And Coming to Dantian. Relax the shoulders. Close your eyes and just again, notice, how are you feeling now? How's your breath? Has your mind slowed down? And then choose a foot, bring it to the other one, and we'll just finish our practice with a bow, like that. Thank you for practicing with me today. And then I will take questions from you. And so you can share a question. You can also just share anything about how you're feeling. Anything like that is welcome. And remember to unmute if you want to speak. So you can type it in the chat or you can speak. Questions, sharings, anything at all. You are unmuted, Janice, so I don't know if you wanted to speak or not.
Yeah, I wanted to apologise for Saturday. I had to leave early because my internet.
Yeah.
So sorry about that. I just sort of went.
Yeah.
It didn't go back on for an hour, so I couldn't get back. So sorry.
Yeah, well, I'm sorry that happened to you. Sometimes the internet is just like that, but I'm glad you came back. And yeah, I'm very glad to hear that, Lynn, that you're feeling good and relaxed and full of chi. And I welcome questions at any level. No question is wrong or not appropriate, and any sharing that you have. Good, I'm glad you like the class. So this is the Qigong for Beginners class, and this is the format that I do every time, but I teach different Qigong things. Some of it overlaps, if you come to different classes. You'll see some of it repeating and some of it, like today I taught the series for trauma and anxiety. Sometimes I teach that, sometimes I teach other things. I'm listening to the season and the energy that I feel. I always start with a little explanation, which some of you have heard many times by now, but it's only a few minutes and then we move. And I also teach another Qigong class called Get Moving with Qigong. And again, I'm doing my best to vary up what I do in the classes. So with that, again, it's my style, but you'll see some different Qigong forms in there. And there I don't do the slideshow, so it's a little less introduction to it. But either class can be done at any level of practice. And so I teach this class. Well, Get Moving, I teach at this same time tomorrow. And then on Thursday, I teach the beginners class in the morning, and I teach the Get Moving class at the end of the day. So come back if you liked it, get the recording, practice on your own, and you will see after class, the class notes, I expanded them so there's more information there about other things you can do. There is a lot of Qigong online, and there's lots of different choices and different styles of teacher. If you like what I do, then come back to class here or do the recording. And there's some other resources there for you as well. So any other questions before we wrap it up for today, or anything else you want to share? And I welcome questions, especially if you've been coming to my class for a while. You might have different questions or want to share something else. So feel free.
So I just enjoy your class so much. I enjoyed coming back. I missed a couple of days because I had family stuff going on. But I'm just so discombobulated. But I did do the breathing exercise when one family members got on my side, and it helped a whole lot.
Good. I'm so glad. Yeah. And that's the thing too, is even if you just pick up a few little things from this class, like in addition to when you come to class, if you remember one or two things from this class, these are tools for your whole life. So, family craziness or anything, right? But, life has these things that can throw us off. And so Qigong can become like a way of living. It doesn't mean you're going to practice for hours every day, but you can incorporate this into your life. So that's another aspect of it that I really like. How do you join again in the future? The same way you signed up for this class, going on the GetSetUp website. And after class, they send you the notes and I don't think you can directly sign up. I mean, there's some suggestions there, like if you like this, try this class. But the same way you signed up for this, you're going to use the same process. And again, just looking for this class is Qigong for beginners. The other class I teach is Get Moving with Qigong. And the third kind of movement class that I teach on GetSetUp is called Ageless Grace. And that's a whole other thing. And so those are movements done in a chair for brain health. And it's also just a lot of fun. So sometimes, this is a little serious. I try not to be too serious, but it's a little more serious and more meditative. Ageless Grace is more playful. And, whatever you do, keep moving. It's very, very important for everything. Not only your body, but your mental health, your state of mind, your brain. It's all, we were made to move. So keep moving. Yeah. Any other questions or any other shares before we wrap it up for today? Is there something? Somebody looks like somebody else unmuted.
Yeah, I've had some tightness in my shoulders and neck muscles because I think I pulled some muscles doing shoulder stand in yoga.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to be careful, I think, with the movements sometimes.
Right. Yeah, so what I would say about that is necks can be very fragile, and shoulder stand is a challenging position. So, make sure in your yoga class that you have done some warm-ups before you do something like that. Hopefully your teacher would, if you're in a class, they will lead you in that. But apart from that, with shoulders and neck, any of the warm-ups that we did today, and even just this gentle, but maybe do it really small. The thing is about that is if we have like tension or we don't have an injury, but we're like,
yeah, I think I have arthritis there too. So yeah, a lot of creaking. Yeah.
Right. So when that's the case, as it often is in our older bodies, doing it more frequently, more gently. So maybe, you just want to do some gentle neck warm-ups every day or, every other day. That will help over time. So
thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. Yeah. All right. Well, any last thing? And otherwise, we'll just end our class for today. And thank you all for being here.
Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Okay, very good. Be well, everyone. Take care.